Welcome back to Crimson Cast. I am Grace Ybarra. That is Galen Clavio, and we are here to talk about the Hoosiers. But before we get to that, Galen, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's a beautiful day here in Bloomington. It was like 68 degrees when I walked in the house, and it is nice and sunny outside. We got a nice 2 days of this, and then back to reality. But I'm going to enjoy this while it's happening because this is the first fake spring of the winter thus far in Indiana.
You know that the freezing temps are going to come back in like
3 days.
Hurry.
It's going to be 25 for a low on Saturday. How are you doing, though, is the question.
Good, actually. Important news to share with you. I already spent part of my nice day outdoors. Right. I went to the zoo, which is one of my favorite things to do in St. Louis because it's free and you can just walk in and it's a nice little, go on a nice little walk. But the important thing is that I saw 2 leopard cubs today, baby leopards. I hadn't seen them before. It made my day.
And you saw a baby elephant last week.
I know. Yeah. I'm a zoo frequenter. I love the zoo.
You live relatively close to the zoo in St. Louis.
Yes. And it's a great little activity. It's nice, get outside, get exercise. And there are so many baby animals right now at the St. Louis Zoo.
That's tremendous. Yeah,
it's a great time.
We don't have a zoo in Bloomington, unfortunately, unless you count like the north neighborhood of the Doors. But I'm kidding. But no, that's awesome. 2 leopard. Do they have names?
They did have names. I wasn't really good at pronouncing them. But I looked it up and I said, yeah, that's not a name I can say. Their mom's name is Dot, which I'm like, that's a great leopard name. But they were
very on the nose, I would say, right?
I know. And I'm like, we couldn't have simplified the kids' names, but they were playing with each other and like chasing each other around, and they would just like hit each other and then zoomy, and then take a nap and just cuddle in like a corner. So I could have stayed there for hours and watched these leopard cubs.
That's really awesome. I'm glad you got a chance to do that. I mean, I can't think of a better way to spend your day off than watching leopard cubs and then doing Crimson Cast. Like it's
I mean, it's the best back-to-back I could ask for.
I did not have that great of a day, relatively speaking.
I've set a high bar.
I did, however, manage to complete a series of things that I was hoping to do today. I finally got my second picture with a major trophy that belongs to Indiana football.
What is it?
There we go. Apparently doing prom pictures with the college football playoff national
Put your arm around it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with some of the poses. The selfie actually is me with an arm around it, but my head is like cocked to one side. I will not show anybody that picture.
What was the first trophy? Oh, I did see that, and I got really jealous.
Yeah, so me with the Heisman Trophy, and now me with the college football playoff trophy. So I do not have a picture with me in the Broyles Award. Nor do I have a picture with me in the Davy O'Brien. I'm working on it. But maybe we need like a trophy walk or something.
We do. We need it like accessible.
Right. Well, the number of people who have sent me texts or whatever, and they're like, where are they keeping the trophies? And I was like, I don't know. I think they're in Signetti's office.
He wants them out of there.
I know.
He wants them out of there.
He wants them like, have you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so he wants them in those like storage crates at the very end where they put the ark. Just like, let's get them out of the way. We have the 2026 season to focus on. I admire that attitude, but yeah, I don't think he wants them in his office at this point, certainly.
I could see him going in the Hall of Champions. Feels like that makes sense. Yeah. I remember being in there for Olivia's wedding, and we were walking around looking at all the different things in there, and I'm like, it's funny, this is in a football stadium, and none of the trophies or memorabilia in here is related to football. That changed really quickly.
This is connected to something we'll talk about later, which is where do you put the sign that says 2025 national champion? So we'll talk about that. I think we talk about the trophies as well, because I think it's like if you've been to Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas. One of the cool things about Allen Fieldhouse is that when you walk in the front door and go through the ticket area, it's like a Hall of Fame. It's like the parts of Cook Hall where they have all of the basketball memorabilia, it's like right as you enter. And I was like, that is really neat. It would be cool to do something like that with Memorial Stadium. Although given the way traffic flows through Memorial Stadium, people wouldn't get into the stadium at that point. It would just be a bottleneck.
Yeah, that's a larger issue we have to address.
Let's just put a survey out about it or something. But yes, we're back. We're here, and looking forward to talking football and basketball and sponsors and everything else.
Yeah, it'd be a good convo. I guess we should probably start with basketball.
We probably should. Yes. And, before we get to that, let's remind you all that we are brought to you by HomefieldApparel.com. I continue my pattern.
I got my home field on today.
I almost texted you. I was like, what are you wearing? Because we mostly, I think, have different home field apparel, but this is a problem Scott and I have where we will accidentally wear the same home field apparel.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, it's so cute. I'm running downstairs immediately to change because I'm not going to match Scott.
It's like showing up to prom in the same dress as some other girl.
Right. And that's no. So it would be interesting if because I think we might have one crossover item, but there's so many things. It's wild to me the amount of home field apparel that's out there, and we would end up choosing the same thing. But
we didn't today.
We did not, which was nice. But there is some new stuff that's IU related. You've got the new basketball coaching jacket, which looks very
awesome.
cool. And for those of you who are not looking for IU apparel, they just released a new ABA collection. Did you get a chance to look at that at all?
I did. It's so cool. I love all the colors. It's super retro looking, which obviously it's the ABA, but I don't need it.
Right. Well, this is the problem we wrestle quite a bit with in the home field collection is need versus want, and how do we make decisions on that? And so it'd be nice to have, and well, your birthday just happened recently, but this is where I
can't keep coming up with reasons.
There's got to be some gift giving day at some point in the next month or two, right?
St. Patrick's Day. There's a green shirt out there. Part
of the NCAA tournament. We should turn that into a gift exchange day. It's a
holiday.
Exactly. It is for us, at least it is. But you can use the code HOME23, get 15% off your first order from Homefield. And if you're here in Bloomington, stop by Homefield at Trax, as they have a ton of amazing IU specific apparel, probably in your size. And they'd love to have you stop by. We love going there. It's an awesome place to be. We're also brought to you by Posh on Kirkwood, your place to go for luxury accommodations in town. I hear they're going to be releasing some more football dates relatively soon, which we desperately need. As I was sitting through what was a really fascinating presentation on IU athletics and football impact on the local economy. And we heard that last year, I know this was the lunch I went to today.
That sounds really captivating. Although it probably was. I'm not an economist.
No, nor am I. So I was just like, let me look at the numbers and see what they say. But they said that during football weekends last year, hotels were at 97% capacity. And short-term rentals were up 30% in town, which a great reason to Airbnb your place, but an even greater reason to look for places like Posh Hotel on Kirkwood to stay during a football weekend. We've got some events coming up relatively soon with Posh that we're going to be announcing. We're looking forward to that. So hit them up, poshhotelbloomington.com, and we appreciate their business and their patronage. All right, Grace, we probably need to start with basketball. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I was thinking we just start with basketball first, and then we'll get to the fun stuff after that. No offense, but man, Sunday was a game to forget.
Yeah, we were very optimistic going into this one.
Yeah, and that's on us. That's our fault.
Well, the problem is there was reason to be optimistic, I feel like, based upon what had happened. I mean, Indiana at that point had won 5 of 6 games. They had beaten Purdue. They'd beaten Wisconsin, albeit both of them at home. They looked like they were on a bit of a roll. And Illinois had just lost at home to Wisconsin. And you're like, well, maybe things are coming together. Maybe this is what we would hope is a team rounding into shape down a stretch. And instead, you got kind of a competitive first 10 minutes, and then things largely went off the rails. We talked in the past about how Indiana, when they struggle, they generally give up runs. They gave up 2 big ones, a 13-2 run in the first half and an 11-0 run in the second half. And I think the biggest problem with this was that outside of Lamar Wilkerson and a little bit of Tucker DeVries, no one really looked good for more than about 4 or 5 minutes at a time. And it really felt like you could see tangibly the difference between a team on Illinois' level and where Indiana's at right now.
Yeah, and honestly, going into half, I looked at that score and I'm like, only down by that much just because of how bad those last 10 minutes of the first half felt. We felt lucky, I guess, to be down by, I think 7 it was. Whatever it was single digits. But then Illinois goes on 2 longer-ish runs to start the second half, and things get out of hand really fast.
And one of the things we've talked about with this team, I think we mentioned it in our quasi preview that we did last week, was this idea of Lamar Wilkerson's got to get help. And he scored 21 points. He was only 2 for 7 from 3, but there's got to be more than just him scoring. Tucker DeVries had a decent start, didn't finish particularly well. Sam Alexis had like 2 clusters of times when he scored baskets, and that was it. But then Connor Enright didn't score from the field. Nick Dorn scored 1 point in this game in 33 minutes of action. And it's like, what are you getting out of Nick Dorn if you're not getting scoring out of Nick Dorn? It hasn't been a huge amount up to this point. And then the bench was non-existent. Reed Bailey had 2 points. Josiah Miles had 3. And it just really felt like, from Indiana's perspective, they weren't getting good enough defense to compensate for the lack of offense anyway. But even the offense that they were getting was broken down very easily by an Illinois team that is not like a superb defensive team. That was probably as frustrating as anything. And then you add on the sheer number of offensive rebounds, where it just felt like it didn't matter if Illinois missed a shot or if it got defended well, because they were going to get another chance at shooting the basketball.
They were doing their best Nebraska impression.
It's a sore subject for us, is it not?
If there's anything Galen and I hate right now, it is Nebraska's offensive rebounding, because gestures back at that Purdue game in overtime.
And the Iowa game.
It
cost them 2 games, and it cost
Indiana. That one was less personal, though. You know,
well, except it put Iowa in a position where they won a game they probably shouldn't have, which then hurts Indiana's seeding. But your point is well taken, yes.
But you talk about Illinois. They're not a good defensive team, which makes the offensive output that much more frustrating. And when you know you're going to go in and you're going to play a team that is so high-powered offensively like Illinois, you have to be able to keep up with them blow for blow. And once the shots weren't falling, there was no way they were going to be able to put up 80.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, Illinois was averaging close to 1.5 points per possession. And
not good.
Cliff Notes version, folks, that's bad. You don't want that. That's a mark that, unless you're scoring more than that, is probably going to lose you the game. And it actually died down a little bit towards the end. Not so much that Indiana's defense got better, but Illinois got almost bored, I think, when they went up 20.
Like, can we please just end this? Tired.
But obviously there's not a lot else you can say. There weren't a whole lot of bright moments, and even Darren DeVries in the post game, there was some effort talk, but it was really about how do we come back from this. The problem is now you play Purdue on the road. Purdue just had a pretty rough game at home.
That's putting it very nicely.
Please put it less nicely. I think the audience would enjoy it.
I was sitting at my desk yesterday working, and I looked up at that score, and I was like, that's at Mackey?
Yeah.
Whose house? Our house has been not as good this year. How many losses do they have at Mackey? I know Iowa State.
They have 3. It's not just that they lost to Iowa State. They lost.
That was also really bad.
They lost by 23. By the way, do you know what else happened that day?
Yeah, we won the Big Ten championship that day.
That's correct.
And I remember I was like, oh, that's good vibes, because Tyrese Halliburton is sitting courtside cheering against Purdue. This is an awesome start to the day.
Yep. And
then there was a basketball game on our end that happened in between us winning the Big Ten championship. In that game, I don't really want to talk about that one.
I think I've blocked that from my memory. I don't totally remember that one. But yes.
We just went and hung out at Gamebridge for 3 hours.
Essentially what we did, yes. But then Purdue also lost at home to Illinois by 6.
Okay. Oh, yes, duh.
And then even though they made it quasi-respectable, they end up losing by 11 points at Mackey. So, I mean, I'm all for kicking dirt on Purdue whenever I can. But the flip side of it is they're going to be angry and kind of need the win at this point. I think Matt Painter essentially ceded the Big Ten championship race to Michigan last night verbally in the postgame press conference. But Purdue is still going to be a 2 seed or a 3 seed or somewhere in that range. And they're going to be very motivated to come back and play as well as they can. And as much as Indiana played well against Purdue and really stymied them in the first game that these two teams played about 3 weeks ago, Indiana has not fared well at Mackey unless they've had a singularly great performance from somebody.
I know who could do that.
Who could do that?
We need Lamar to have a game.
We do. But the other side of that is Indiana needs someone to play well outside of him. I mean, if you go back to that game that Indiana won at Mackey in 2023, that was, of course,
that the last time?
I believe, yes. That was the Jalen Hood-Schifino game. And it was a great game. 35 points out of Jalen Hood-Schifino and 7 rebounds, and played 40 minutes in that game. But that was also a game where you got 13 out of Trey Galloway, you got 13 out of Miller Kopp, you got 10 out of Trace Jackson Davis. Indiana, even though they got significantly out-rebounded offensively, they made shots. And this team is not playing as well as that 23 team for Indiana was. Purdue's not as good as they were that year either, but it is one of those things where I'm having a hard time seeing all of the ingredients come together for Indiana to be able to go up and mount a serious challenge, which was really frustrating because it felt like they were more on that trajectory moving forward.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're kind of going into Mackey on the same terms that they went into that Illinois game, where Illinois lost back-to-back games for the first time all season. They're pissed off. They want to go beat someone really badly. And now Purdue just got embarrassed on their home floor. What do you want to not do after you get embarrassed at Mackey, lose to your biggest rival, and get swept on the season at home? So I hate that for Indiana going into this game.
I hate that for Indiana as well. It's got me thinking, what was the last time that Purdue lost back-to-back home games? And,
are you asking, is this a question?
Well, it's a question that I'm not expecting you to have the answer to. It's more of a question.
Can I guess?
Please, while I do frantic searching on the internet, okay, why don't you guess when it was?
I'm trying to think of like the worst or not the worst season. They haven't really had a bad season in a while.
You're on the right track. It is the worst season they've had recently.
Was it 28?
It was the COVID year.
Oh, 2020, 21.
It was the year that never finished.
So they got I think that's why it's like not in my brain, because they got bailed out.
They were 16-15 that year. And their best player from an offensive perspective was probably Eric Hunter or maybe Matt Harms.
So that was when they were in between like Carson Edwards and Zach Edey era.
Yeah, it was a really janky roster. Like Nogel Eastern was on that team. Sasha Stefanovic was on that team. Trevion Williams was on that team. But they lost to Penn State at home. Penn State was actually decent that year. Yeah. And then they lost to Michigan at home. That was the last time Purdue lost back-to-back home games. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Well, I guess we all forgot about that year.
I'm sure Purdue's been trying to get people to forget about it. But this is where Indiana, the route to winning that game in Mackey is obviously you've got to hit shots at a higher clip than what you were able to pull off against Illinois. And this is where Indiana's just got to be able to play better defense. And it's the big downside, I think, to playing Purdue at this point. Illinois is the number one offensive team in the country in efficiency numbers. Purdue is second. Like Purdue right now is second in the country in offensive efficiency. And it's not just Braden Smith. It's Trey Kaufman-Wren. It's Fletcher Lawyer. It's Oscar Clough, who's the number 2 offensive efficiency player in the country individually. Everybody scores at a really high clip. And that is a frightening proposition for an Indiana team that has struggled to maintain defensive intensity for a half, let alone an entire game.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of it.
Yeah, I feel like we're being way too negative. Give me something positive that you like. What is the route in your opinion? Like where does the scoring need to come from? You got to get Nick Dorn untracked at this point.
Yeah, I think you need Tucker to have a solid. He seems like the make or break in most games. That if he's off,
yeah,
I don't know. But also, I just want you have to frustrate Braden Smith. Get him off.
And they did that very well in the game in Assembly Hall. And you look back at the games that he has played over the course of the season, he has some higher turnover games. And I go back to that Oregon game that was much closer than it probably should have been that Purdue played a couple of weeks ago. Braden Smith, 13 points, 6 turnovers in that game. You've got to find a way to put on-ball pressure on, and that really falls on Connor Enright, but it also falls on Tatum Connerway, who's got to start contributing a bit more as well.
Yeah. Do we know more on that front with Connerway?
It's hard to tell. I mean, it seems implausible that he isn't still injured in some way, but it also feels like he was contributing at a much higher level earlier in the season, and it's just dropped off a cliff. And I don't really totally – I think you could hypothesize as far as what the problem might be. But you look at basically since the Iowa game when he had 16 points, 4 assists, and played 31 minutes. Since then, he's scored 0 points, 6 points, did not play, 7 points, did not play, 1 point, 0 points. That is the stretch of time over the last month that he has been. So there's clearly some injuries there, but it's such a drop-off when you consider this is a guy that was in double figures more often than not for the first basically 2 months of the season.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that in like graph form because I think it would look really bad. Just like peaks and then just falls off a cliff.
A big valley that hasn't. It's not a valley because, like you said, it's a cliff. So
yeah,
it does feel like they have to start there. I will say this, like maybe to close off the basketball talk. I mean, it feels, especially with Ohio State beating Wisconsin last night and Iowa winning the game that they won against Nebraska, the double bye in the Big Ten tournament continues to get further and further away. And Indiana, they've done enough still to get into the tournament. They're probably, I think I saw most projections. I haven't done a projection since the weekend, but most projections have them as a 10 seed now. I don't think they're in danger of falling out of the tournament. And even losing to Purdue isn't going to knock them out of the equation. But they've got to figure out a way to not lose other games. And I guess not if they end up losing to Illinois and Purdue, not letting that negatively affect them mentally in those other games. It would be better if they beat Purdue because talk about like, okay, now we don't really have to worry at all. But barring something we haven't seen out of this team yet, that may be a bridge too far. So how do you limit the damage and how do you get them refocused on what they have to do next?
And we were overly positive going into that Illinois game. So maybe it's a good thing that we're being negative, like change the vibes. You and I are both superstitious people. So hopefully this changes the vibes. But let's talk about football. Bryant Haines, Broyles Award.
We talked about this a little bit on a solo show I did last week, but it's still worth celebrating. The first Broyles Award winner, which is given out to the best assistant coach in college football, not the best defensive assistant, but the best assistant overall. And he beat some pretty heavy competition, Grace.
Yeah, it was funny, actually. Stefan, my boyfriend, covers Ohio State, and we went out to dinner the night of the Broyles Award, and he texted his coworker, I don't think Matt Patricia's going to win it, but in the wild event that he does, can you please do this because I won't be around my laptop, but I'm like 90% sure Bryant Haines is going to win it, so we'll be fine. And we were fine. But yeah, insane names that he beat out. And my favorite part of all of it was Gracie Bear.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
His daughter, who has never seen Indiana lose. What is she? She's like maybe 8 months old now.
Yeah, she was born before the season started.
I mean, what a life she's living.
Between Gracie Bear and Hoosier the Bison, I mean, that's two 16-0 individuals who are living their best lives right now.
They deserve to go, like, some mention in the trophy case in the display about this season. Gracie Bear and Hoosier the Bison are the catalysts for 16-0.
They've been the first witnesses of all of this, and it has been delightful to see. But yes, it wasn't just the trophy ceremony that Bryant Haines' daughter got some camera time in, but all of the social media afterwards. Like they do this whole thing with the Broyles Award, which it's given in Arkansas, and they go to like a racetrack,
yes,
like a horse racing track, and so they had videos of her there.
She was looking at the horses. She was very happy.
Yeah, so it was a good time all the way around, and just a great. Getting that kind of an award for Haines is amazing. I mean, given He's relatively young in the profession, just signed a brand new contract. Certainly there's going to be teams that are going to look at him. I mean, it's funny because like last year, the word on the street was this is a guy Penn State wanted to hire as their defensive coordinator. IU ends up anteing up. He wants to stay with Cignetti. They keep him here. Ohio State ends up losing Jim Knowles to Penn State. We saw how that worked out. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're going to lose Haines. They're going to lose Mike Shanahan to a coordinator job or a head coaching job elsewhere. They both stick around here. But to have the Broyles Award is a big deal. And you look at the list, and I would invite anybody to call it up. Go to Wikipedia. They've got them all listed. The number of people that have gone on to great coaching careers as head coaches or as career assistants who have won that, it's a pretty exclusive club. But it's a great advertisement, obviously, for Haines, but it's a great advertisement for IU football as well, that you can say, hey, we've got like the best assistant coach in college football coaching our defense. You probably want to come play for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, does that round out the amount of trophies that IU football could earn in a season?
I think that might be the max.
Like, that's it.
You could potentially sweep every position. That would be hard to do, let's be honest. But you win the Heisman, you win the Davey O'Brien Award, which I think also just recently got announced. You got the Broyles Award. You've got the Walter Camp Award, I think. That gets the National Coach of the Year Award.
Yes.
It's a full roster. And that's great for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is you're going to look back on this season 10, 20, 30 years from now and be like, wow, that Indiana team must have been pretty damn good if they won all those awards, which I personally love. I still do that with some of the older years where it's like, that's how you tell who was the best of the best. And between that and the All-American selections that Indiana had, it's been a really impressive run for this 2025 team, as it should have been, given that they were 16-0 and national champions.
Right. That's like the ultimate factor that tells you this was a really good team. But to have all those other accolades that go along with it just make it all the more better and like indisputable that this team is up there with the best of the best.
Yeah. You just ultimately, I think for a lot of IU fans, some of these awards are things that maybe they're not even particularly familiar with, because why would you be? I don't even, and I'll go look at this at some point, but I'm not sure how many IU nominees there have ever even been for some of these awards. But Cignetti, having swept National Coach of the Year awards twice, he'll probably not win it again next year because
they got to give it to someone else, right?
Well, they do. I mean, if he goes undefeated and wins the national title again, what you'll find is historically there's this thing called award fatigue. Like controversially in the 90s, like Michael Jordan didn't win the Player of the Year award in the NBA one year, and they gave it to Karl Malone instead. And it wasn't that Jordan wasn't the best player in football or in basketball that year. It was that people were tired of voting for Jordan and they wanted a new story.
Yeah, that happened recently with Jokic too, where it's like he goes on and wins the NBA Finals, but he wasn't MVP.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense either.
But you can't keep giving it to the same person. Everybody, award fatigue.
So I let's enjoy this. Let's soak it in.
Yes.
I mean, it is possible to win the Broyles Award next year. Maybe it's Mike Shanahan next year that wins it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And speaking of people on the staff, we got to talk about Bryson Bonds, right?
Bryson Bonds, who it was a disappointing year from an injury perspective. He wasn't really able to contribute, but he announced on X, I think it was, or maybe it was Instagram. I lose track where people announce.
I think it was, I don't know.
But he announced he's joining the staff as a special teams assistant. And this is now it's awesome for him. And much as he could have technically come back, but he announced that he'd also gotten his MBA from Kelly, and he kind of run out of school to take after a while. So to see another former player immediately jump on staff, this following in the footsteps of Justice Ellison last year, going from being starting running back to joining the staff. To me, it says a couple of things, but the main thing is it's great that Cignetti and his staff give their players the opportunity to do this and to get into coaching. But it also seems to me like this is a good group to work with. Like there's something that's working that makes players that have played in the program want to go on the other side of the glass.
Oh, yeah. It makes you feel good about everything that is happening with this team if someone's okay with hanging up the cleats and being like, you know what, actually, I'm going to just join the other side of things. And I'm happy with for him. Not only that, obviously no more school at that point. I don't know. You're just going to keep getting higher and higher in degrees and things get difficult at a point. But knowing your body and not pushing yourself. And obviously that sucks at the way this season went for him. But to be able to make that decision for yourself, as hard as it is, and then get the opportunity to come back and be on the staff, I'm excited for him.
Yeah. And I think it sends a great message to recruits. And that's a guy who can say, look, I played here. I know what it's like. Here's what you're getting into. And here's how this can help you develop into who you want to be. That will help as much as anything. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. And I wish Bryson a lot of luck with this as much as I wish Justice Ellison. And we see Justice on social media occasionally talking through these things. So good things all the way around, I think, with this IU staff and how they continue to get ready as we got spring practice coming up here relatively soon, I think starting in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then the spring game, and then we'll be back at Memorial Stadium before we know it. And I know one of the things we wanted to talk about here is how we could improve the Memorial Stadium experience.
And I want to get Grace's thoughts on this specifically. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about that, as well as the best show on social media that you're probably not watching yet, but you probably will after we talk about it. So back right after this here on Crimson Cast.
When the final buzzer sounds in Bloomington, the conversation starts here. The assembly call is IU basketball. Live post-game shows, smart midweek breakdowns, and no empty hot takes. Jared Morris, Coach Brian Tonsoni, Andy Bottoms, and Ryan Phillips dissect lineups, sets, and recruiting so you know what really happened and what it means for the Big Ten season, March, and beyond. Join the live chat on YouTube, then catch the podcast on Spotify and Apple. Just search Assembly Call and be part of Hoosier Nation's most trusted post-game tradition.
Okay, let's talk some Memorial Stadium.
So I put a little line in the show notes. I was like, how would Grace improve the Memorial Stadium experience? This is
a great question.
It's well, and this has been a topic that has garnered a lot of attention. We see a lot of debates on Twitter about this. We've also seen a survey put out by IU where they've asked people specifically, like, where would you buy premium seats? What would you do with concessions? What would you do with the parking situation? Things like that. You've obviously been to a ton of games. You only have been to one home game in the Cinematic area, which disappoints me greatly because we've only gotten to hang out for one of them. It was a fun game. It was the Washington game last year. But it is not fundamentally too different of an experience from when you were here as a student. So knowing that and knowing what you saw while you were here and what you see as you look out, on the stadium on television, what are the things that pop up to you where you're like, this is really what we need to do? This is what I'm seeing elsewhere that would make the fan experience better for IU fans?
Well, the first thing, it's not something you see on television, but I feel like everyone brings this up, the bathroom situation.
Yeah, that one gets talked about a lot. It's weird, though, because, like, where my seats are, it's not that bad. But everywhere else in the stadium apparently is terrible. So I'm like, when people ask me about this, it's like, the bathrooms are fine. What are you talking about? And then I realize that I'm very much in the minority.
I remember the bathrooms outside of what was the old student section. There were not that many stalls in there. And that was fine back when I was going to games and we were finishing the year 2-10 because I was one of the few people in the stadium and it wasn't that hard to use the bathroom. But from what I have gathered, the lines are like atrocious now. Yeah. And you'd rather be watching Signetti football than waiting in line to go to the bathroom.
That's a fair assessment. Yes.
And just like the concourse in general, I feel like we could have upgrades to it. I know they've added maybe like what Social Cantina has a food stand.
Yeah, there's a few like that. I mean, Social Cantina's got one. There's Everbowl's got one.
That's an interesting. If you really want to get a bowl at a football game, I'm not going to dock you for it. My sister would probably do that, but that is not the first food I would think of at a football game.
It's not bad. I've done it once, and there's a decent line there. They're also at Assembly Hall, but Buffalo's has their own concession right at the entrance on the north end, and they've got different things dotted throughout. So they have added some more food options, but it is hard, especially at halftime. If you make the wrong choice line-wise, you might end up waiting a while.
Do they have any of those like grab and go kind of deals?
They have added those.
Big.
They've got those at Assembly, and they've also got them at Memorial, and those are pretty efficient. Like I sit in 11 or 12. I think I'm in 11. I always forget what section I'm in. I'm a visual person, not a numbers person.
I can see exactly where it is.
Exactly, right. But if I was being quizzed right now and my life depended on it, that would be it for me, I think. But yes, when you come out and you go to the left, there is a grab and go there. There's also some smaller beer kiosks that they've opened up that are pretty quick. They'll have like popcorn with them as well. So they have added a few of those things for convenience, but again, it's like volume is the bigger issue, it feels like, in terms of just the sheer number of people.
Yeah, it's crazy to imagine how fine everything operated back when I was in college and there were not that many people going to games, and now they're at capacity. Literally every game, in terms of visuals and things you see on TV or just in the game experience itself, I feel like just elevating big screens. And the sound system, I know this isn't like the top of priorities, but if we get more night games, I think an LED light situation and like light show would be really fun. After I graduated, I did go and spend time down in the SEC covering SEC football, and some of the stuff, even at like Ole Miss, like not the best stadium I've ever been to in the world, but they had like this really cool laser show on the field that was awesome. And it's like you don't have to have like a multi-tiered stadium to put on cool experiences, which was what the case was at Ole Miss. But they had just all these fun elements where it's like we're putting money into this experience and as a whole to make your game day a lot cooler. We could do more fireworks. I love fireworks.
Fireworks are always big. Fred Glass loved fireworks. He shot fireworks off all the time, it felt like.
I have a reason to fire them off.
But no, a lot of those are ideas that I think are where the next logical step would be. Because, people have asked, like, when are you going to expand the stadium? It's like, I don't know if expanding the stadium
can we like go up? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be better off expanding luxury or premium seating because you could.
Which is what I would see happening.
But that takes time. It's like so they got to go to architects and they got to show them ideas, and then they got to come up with how would you implement that, and then you got to hire contractors, and it takes 2-3 years to do that stuff. So the sound system, I hear that one a lot, and I 100% agree. Like that feels like you're using it's like if you're using the car stereo that your car came with rather than getting a nice Alpine system put in it or something like that.
They have money for that nice Alpine system now too.
They do.
Just upgrade.
Yeah. Because part of the problem, I think, historically is that the in-stadium experience was so predicated on what's the Marching 100 going to do. And the modern football experience is not really something that revolves around the marching band doing in-stadium stuff during the game. Before the game, yes. Halftime, absolutely. After the game, absolutely. But what you would consider to be a normal crowd environment for big-time college football, you're using the PA a ton.
Yep.
And it's just not loud enough. And it's not even that it's not the loudness is part of the issue, but this, you've been to these stadiums, like you have to feel the sound. Right? Yes.
There's no feeling the sound. You feel the sound of the people in the stands, but it's not loud enough to the point where you would be able to feel it.
Yeah. The light thing is another great topic. And obviously it's expensive because you got to completely change out the lights that they have. And the other issue is, if you think about it, like how many night games has Indiana gotten?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, a light show would be really cool, but I'm like, I can't remember a night game.
Well, there have been a few, like last year
that I've attended. I guess no, not really.
Sometimes on a 3:30 kick in like late October, early November, it'll bridge over to the point where it's at least dusky.
Yes,
but like last year, you had the Indiana State game, which was a Friday night game. and then you had the Illinois game, and that would have been great to have had some kind of light show. This is where the Big Ten's history hurts it, because for a long time, Big Ten teams, like as a conference, this was actually a setting in the video game where it's like you don't play night games in November. Well, that's 4 weeks of the season right there. But what's frustrating about it is even Purdue has LED lights.
Yeah, they do, and they look nice.
Right. So that does feel like maybe the lower hanging fruit that you could attack. And then, beyond that, I think, the fireworks are a good idea. There was a drone show.
I was going to say, if I'm like really like asking for a lot, I would ask for a drone show. That's at the bottom of the list.
There was one. There was a drone show this year. I believe it was Illinois, because that was the only one I think where it would have been dark enough to do a drone show. And it was sponsored by Merchants Bank, so they had like the frog, but they also had some other things that they did. It was fine. It was just like I was expecting more, I guess.
Elevate the drone show. Okay.
I would do that a little bit. And we need some other ideas, obviously, but that's a good start, because a lot of it is just little things. And, a stadium's a stadium. You've been to a ton of stadiums.
Yeah.
It's less the structure or the artifice. It's more like, what are you doing with the experience once you're in there? And, it's tough because if you got a lot of noon games, like how do you make that feel special? And that's where I'm not 100% certain what the answer is. It's great to have parties going on outside. You've got the whole tailgate scene, and that's nice. And, you were there for game day. That was a really cool setup. And when they do Big Noon there, they've done it a couple of times. It's a big set. It's a nice setup as well. I'd love to capture that party atmosphere all the time, though, not just when a network is coming in and doing something.
Right. And I will say, too, the whole towel thing, that is an elevated part of the game day experience that we didn't have 3 years ago, which happened seemingly naturally because people gravitated toward it. But I think maybe also moving that party atmosphere into Memorial too, after having it outside and all that tailgating field, if we could find a way to sort of bring the party inside. I don't know what that would look like.
They've tried it a little bit. They did a happy hour kind of thing leading in where there was like discounted drinks and hot dogs and whatever. It's tough. And I deal with this hosting a tailgate. And you've been part of this where it's like, well, when do we shut down our tailgate and go inside?
It's just so tough for a noon game.
It is. Because when you go shut, like if I'm out there and I got to cook for people and I'm going to shut it down at 10:30 so we can go in at 10:50, and then you get in and you need something else to do other than eat or drink. And so I do wonder how else could you handle the beginning parts of the game. But these are some good things to think about. We'll come back to this in a couple of weeks. I want to hear some more ideas from you on this.
So the other thing we have to sort out, which is definitely not something you or I are deciding, is where the banner goes.
Yeah. So there needs to be you have to figure out a way to commemorate what just happened in as big of a way as humanly possible.
Yes.
And I feel like it has to become a permanent part of the external architecture of Memorial Stadium. The question is where, because you've got multiple entrances. The side that faces Assembly Hall is a logical place to start, but it also cuts off one half of the stadium entirely. You've got multiple bowl games that they've won in this stretch, as well as a national championship. The national championship needs to be front and center. Do you put that in the stadium seating bowl? Do you put it outside so people will see it when they're driving by, so it's not just a game day thing that you're only getting 7 or 8 times a year? And then you've got the trophies. It'd be nice to find a way to have something that displays all of that. I don't know if you can accomplish all of these things. What would you like to most see, though, if you think about that whole mix?
I would say somewhere to display the trophies. There's so many of them, first of all, but we're not all like you. We're not all taking prom pictures with the national championship trophies. So, getting them in a spot where fans can easily access them and see them is huge. like that was one of my favorite things after the Colts won the Super Bowl was coming into Lucas Oil Stadium and then they would have the Lombardi out. It's just like a reminder of that. And you feel as a fan closer to it because you are next to those trophies that are so iconic and have been in all these images. So that's what I would want to see the most first. Also, as you're talking about these spots on the outside of the stadium, I'm starting to think like, okay, this is obviously down the line, but like there's going to be statues built at some point. Not this year. We also have to be thinking about like we got to leave room for those somewhere. Where are those going?
That's a great point. I mean, I almost feel like I wonder if there would be a way to build like a pavilion that attaches to the stadium. That would be an entry point where you could have the statues, but you could also have the trophies and you could have some kind of commemorative thing. But again, the problem is, there's so many points of entry into the stadium, and you've already got like the George Taliaferro statue is on the north side, and then there's other statues on the south side. And it's great to walk around and see those, but it's almost like you need a walking tour of the history of IU football that you can access whenever you go to a game, or even if you're not going to the game, but you're on the grounds. Because, like, again, in the off season, I want people to be able to walk up and see the trophy or the trophies. I want them to be able to see, wow, Indiana won the national title in football in 2025, and they won the Rose Bowl, and they won the Big Ten championship. These are all problems we've never had before. Because
we haven't even thought of them.
Like no one's really fretting about how do we commemorate the Liberty Bowl victory, or how do we recognize the Copper Bowl effectively. And there's only been prior to this year, as I know and many others know, Indiana only won 3 bowl games period in their history, and they'd only won 2 Big Ten titles, and one of them was shared. And there's less pressure, I think, to showcase those things if A, you're not perennially a good team, but B, you're also like not actively going after top recruits. But now it's like, well, you really do need to put all that stuff on display, because if you don't, what did you, I mean, it's not that what did you do it all for sounds dumb, but like you're not maximizing what you could be getting out of the visuals that are associated with that. Because I would be, if I was a recruit or if I was just a regular student, like if I want to come to Indiana, I would be impressed when I saw that. I was like, I'm part of something special now.
This is a crazy sentence, but have you been to Tuscaloosa ever?
I've actually not. That's one I need to cross off the list. I've been to Auburn, but I've not been to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, they don't have the same amount of championships there, do they? But on the entrance to one of the sides of Bryant-Denny Stadium, they do, I don't know if it's called the Walk of Champions. I'm like probably mixing that up with an Ole Miss name thing. But they do have like a big path of bricks with statues like on the right side. And there's a massive Nick Saban statue, and it like leads up to the entrance of the stadium. I don't know where they keep their trophies. They've got so many, but like that's when you say a pavilion of sorts, like that's what I would imagine, like a circle of history of Indiana football.
I like that. I think that's a good idea. Now we got to figure out where to put it, though.
Yeah,
because you're lacking in real estate.
What's that? The side that faces 17th. There's like there's a trophy there already, or a statue.
There was a statue there. Yeah, that's the south end.
Yeah,
that's also where they've put Big Noon and Game Day when they've come to town, and
that's where I would ideally like it, but there's already a statue there.
Well, this is where I think the larger economic development aspect of the Memorial Stadium area needs to be discussed. And maybe this is where I bring up the hotel casino idea that I've been floating here lately, where we just plot. I mean, why not, right? We need hotel spaces. And if French Lick can have a casino, why can't Bloomington, right? But plop that and build like an 8-story parking garage to go along with it.
Where is this going?
The corner of 17th and Dunn.
Okay. That's where there's like tailgating fields, right?
Well, there's some tailgating areas, but no, not 17th and Dunn. The bypass and Dunn. My bad.
Oh, okay. I'm like, that's like kind of campus, Galen. I don't think we can put a casino on campus.
Why not? Right? I mean, we could start a hospitality management major. I mean,
anyway. That makes a lot more sense. I've got a visual.
I get the bypass and 17th confused sometimes. Yes, but
yes. Okay, I like it. You could walk to the stadium.
Yeah, you could stay on the grounds of the stadium, and there could be a sky bridge that goes past the practice facility, and now you're just in Memorial Stadium.
It's like the JW Sky Bridge.
Yeah. This is what they should have done, like, with where like Touchdown Terrace is, like across Dunn Street. Just like build a tall building that could house a casino and a hotel. I think anything. This is where I think you got to almost reevaluate the whole thing, because it always did feel like, at least when I came to games, we have a football stadium and that's it. And the idea of an experience surrounding football was never something that people really processed. It was like, well, you drive in, you go to the game, and then you leave. And it would be great to reevaluate that now that it looks like football is a going proposition. Like, we're continuing to pour resources into it. We want to win games and championships every year. So now you got to figure out, like, how do you maximize that? And then how do you build the history that you're making right now into that experience? Because that's what people want to come see.
We have a lot of ideas.
We do.
If Indiana University needs any help, any brainstorming, please contact us.
We basically have a focus group right here, just the two of us. We're ready. Just get us in the boardroom. We'll walk you through everything.
Be perfect. Well, something else too that you need to have on your radar as director of sports media at the IU Media School is I need you to start recruiting Max Mendoza.
I've heard this from a lot of people. Yes.
I'm not the first to tell you that.
No. So why Max Mendoza, for those who don't know, the youngest of the Mendoza brothers, significantly younger than Alberto and Fernando. And he has popped onto your radar and my radar and many others. Why?
Okay, well, I became obsessed with him probably like around Big Ten championship time, Heisman ceremony time. He was just funny. He wasn't saying anything, but he was funny, like just his mannerisms. And then we started putting a mic in front of this kid, and he was even more hilarious. And
even during the national championship game, I think he was mic'd, and he
was mic'd up.
Watching him interact with his parents, his mom especially during the game, was almost like you could make a whole TV show just out of that.
And then I think AC from Wish TV was doing an interview with Charlie Becker post game, and like Max came over and was like, "This is the best wide receiver in the country." Like he's a character, and I think he is literally the younger, like smaller version of Fernando Mendoza. Like their personalities are so similar. And come to find out, as Fernando's doing his press tour, and he goes on the Today Show, that Max is actually interested in broadcasting.
Yes.
And he is at a school down in Miami, and they have what Galen and I were talking about, like maybe the nicest student television I've ever seen for, I believe, a middle school.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a full-fledged newsroom.
We didn't have a television set up at my high school.
No, same.
And so watching this, and they've got, it seems like 20 or 30 people working at this station, and they've got decent equipment, it seems like, and they're shooting content all the time. It's like, this is really awesome. Like I'm legitimately jealous. And
now he has what he is calling the Max Mendoza Show. Correct. There's an Instagram page for it. Last time I checked, he was just under like 10,000 followers, which is crazy how quickly the follower count has gone up. But it's become our new obsession. I'm speaking on behalf of both of us, but
fair of you. Yes.
Okay.
I had Grace cut some clips from this.
Yes, I want to share them. Let's start with his Olympic updates.
So we got to set the scene. So one of the things that Max Mendoza is doing on the Max Mendoza Show is giving updates on what events are happening in the Winter Olympics. So this is
He's not going to tell you what happened in them.
He's going to tell you what's about to happen, but not what actually occurred. Let's take a look.
Hey, what up, guys? I'm your host, Max Mendoza. Today I'm going to be telling you what's happening in the Winter Olympics. So we start off with men's ski jumping. That's happening right now, so check that out. Then we got women's freestyle skating, and then men's ice hockey. Check those all out. That's what's happening right now in the Winter Olympics. See you next time. This is Max Mendoza reporting. God bless.
It's just like Fernando. That's all I see. The God bless, he has it nailed.
I hope he's doing a better job of promoting things than Peacock is at this point. I hope he's like sending them invoices.
He's a sports guy, but also he's dabbling in cooking. And that's another video I want us to pull up because
that one generated a lot of text conversation between us. Let's take a look at that one.
Welcome on to my kitchen. I'm your host, Max Mendoza, and today we're going to be cooking some smash burgers. But there's a twist. We're going to be cooking with some pineapple. Let's grab right here some ginger and a bowl and just start grating. So now we're here with the blender. We're going to put all our ingredients in. And I forgot to mention also that you do need to add a cup of water in this. You're gonna get this little tool right here and start mixing it like this. So now we're gonna grab the burger meat and we're gonna put half a pound. Now we're gonna put on the patty and the sauce. The pineapple sauce makes a huge difference. Add a little tang, spice, just so perfect. Well, nothing really can be perfect, but you know, this is pretty close to it. This is Max Mendoza reporting for our son.
He's amazing. I cut that down a little bit because it's long, but you should go to his Instagram page, the Max Mendoza Show, and check out the entire thing. But the reason that generated so much text conversation, if you're listening, you won't have noticed this. But Max starts out the cooking segment with no bandage on his hand.
Right.
And then his right pinky ends with a bandage on it, which is his cutting hand. So Galen and I speculate that he burnt his pinky making the sauce.
We went through this like Zapruder film style,
yes,
like frame by frame. And
what's wrong with Max?
When does the bandage pop up? And it's after he turns the hot plate on. So
yes,
we're assuming he might have accidentally singed his finger a little bit. But yes, it's funny because like it's just, he clearly watches a lot of Food Network, and it's a well done package. Like it's filmed well. You can follow along with it. It's nice.
And then he's also a bit of an interviewer. And this next clip, I'll explain why I love it so much after.
What up, guys? We're here at Arbuckle seeing how the local West Chester community honors our local hometown hero and his family. So let's get into it. The Arbuckle community, just the West Chester community, how much I can tell they supported your son, just letting them into the community with his own hot dog, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's, you look around, you see there are hundreds of people here really supporting the inductees and Fernando. That means it's a really tight-knit community. It means a lot to the people who live here or have been part of this community since growing up like I have. So it does mean a lot to Fernando and our family to be recognized at our betters.
Well, that was great. We enjoyed some really good hot dogs, had a fun time, and saw the local community really bond together for this family. This is Max Mendoza reporting. Make sure to follow me on my account and Gavin, my cameraman, on his account.
So when he says this family, Max is referring to his own family. And I love it because he's impartial. You would never know he was involved, except for the fact that we all know who he is and who he's talking about. But it was this spot.
He's interviewing his dad.
Yes, he's interviewing his dad about his brother. And he said, how proud are you of your son? Like, Max, that's your brother. But he's impartial. He's unbiased.
I mean, he's just trying to bring people the straight facts on this.
He is not taking any sway one way or another, although we do know that is his dad.
So I have to ask, so I don't know exactly how old Max is, 12 or 13.
Yeah, he's middle school for sure.
Yeah, so he's somewhere in that range. You are uniquely qualified to comment on this, having been a kid reporter who was doing similar interviews at the same age. So how would you compare Max Mendoza at this age to where you were?
That's a great question.
You know, I'm just curious about your perspective on that.
Well, he definitely has a lot more confidence than I feel like I did at this age. He's got a tremendous personality. He knows what he's talking about. I will say I wasn't lucky enough to have a Heisman winner as a brother. So, you know, I wasn't exposed to the same things that he is, but I think he's doing phenomenal. He's got all of the personality to be tremendous in broadcast, whatever route he wants to go. And I really want him to come to the media school.
We've got, if he's that age, we've got at least a few years of recruiting. Yes. So I think
if you need me there on the recruiting visit, just let me know.
I don't think we can leave this to chance. I think we need to fly to Miami, like the two of us.
Look, kid reporter to former kid reporter, I'll level with him.
You got to walk him through it all,
Yes. But I love it. I also think another thing that we need to mention about the whole thing is if you go through the comments of all of his reels on Instagram, they are filled with Fernando's teammates.
Yes. Yeah. There's Carter Smith, Charlie Becker. It's a who's who of who was on the football team this year, and many of them will be back next year. So even though Alberto has obviously transferred to Georgia Tech and will be starting there, I'm still not entirely convinced that that's the last that we've seen of Alberto Mendoza in an Indiana uniform, but that's just a pet theory of mine.
Okay.
But we're hoping Max will maintain his connections to the IU football family, and we just need to broaden that a little bit to involve some of the academics, particularly through the media school. That would be great.
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think also, like, if there was any question about how close this IU football team was this last season, if you have your teammates hyping up your little brother's Instagram show, that should tell you everything you need to know about how tight this team was.
It's another facet of special in a team that really dominated special in a ton of ways, just in terms of their camaraderie and the way that they got together. So yeah, it's when you noted that you were really paying attention to this account, it got me looking at it a lot more closely. And it is just really cool. And much like Fernando himself, it's a really cool story that doesn't really have a negative to it. It's just like, wow, that's great. That's how it should be. And that's that. And that's refreshing, I think, in sports in general right now.
Okay, Galen, I want to close things out with the game, but it's only going to be you playing it.
One-man game show.
I'm the host. You're going to play it. So Indiana football, nobody thought they would win a national championship. And something I noticed recently is how large the discrepancy is between IU football's ex-followers and the last people to win a national championship. So, for example, IU football has 168.6 thousand followers.
Okay.
Ohio State, 834K. Michigan, 1 million. Georgia, 1.1. Alabama, 1.2. So the game I have devised for you is
Indiana's is 1/10 the size of Alabama. That's nuts.
Yes, and they beat Alabama, and I'm going to throw Ohio State in there on the way to a national championship. But my game for you is I have gone around X and found some X accounts, whatever it's called, and found their follower accounts, and you have to guess if you think it's over or under Indiana footballs.
I'm ready for this.
Okay. First, South Carolina women's basketball.
I am going to say, am I saying over or under for IU or for the other account?
You would say like the other account would be over or.
Okay, I'm going to say South Carolina women's basketball is over what IU football is.
It is under by 2,000.
Oh, by 2,000. Okay,
yes.
So it's essentially equal.
So, they are now South Carolina women's basketball level.
Wow. I mean, that's South Carolina is one women's Final Four run away from springing back into the lead, assuming they weren't already leading before, right? Yeah.
Yes, these two are neck and neck.
Jeez.
Purdue football.
I'm going to say Purdue football is under.
You would be right. They have 156.9 thousand. It's actually
a lot closer.
It's a lot closer than you'd like.
Yeah.
Let's go local TV. WTHR.
The whole station.
The entire station. Their X account.
I'm going to say under.
It is over.
Oh, God.
305,000.
Oh, no.
WTHR has nearly double the amount of followers that IU football has.
And I got to say, I can never once remember a promo or an advertisement for WTHR Twitter. And I say that as a person who interned at WTHR,
right,
and watched them for many years. That hurts. Wow, that's
personal.
Almost double. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you an IU person here.
Okay,
Victor Oladipo.
Oh, I think Victor's probably over.
You'd be right. Okay. He has 299.5K.
So it's the benefits you get from being the number 2 pick in the draft right when Twitter was actually popular, right?
Yes. And if there's anybody that is allowed to have more, he's allowed to have more.
Yeah.
Another person, Sophie Cunningham.
Ooh. I'm going to guess under simply because I think Sophie's audience is largely on Instagram and TikTok.
That's what I thought. It's over.
Oh, God.
She has 289.5K followers. She has almost, 120, 115-ish more than IU football?
Like, how?
As a proxy of Caitlin Clark, she has more.
That's nuts.
Yeah. What the heck? That's
Right.
what I've been thinking. Okay. IMPD, Indianapolis Police Department.
Well, I keep guessing under and I'm wrong. I'll guess over on this one.
No, under.
Okay.
This one's really under. It's 70,000. People aren't really following the cops in Indy.
Yeah, what would one follow IMPD on Twitter for at this point?
I'm not really sure. Let's get MLS in here.
Oh God. Okay.
Columbus Crew.
I'm gonna guess over just because they've been around for so long.
Yes, 202.8 thousand.
Let's give congrats to Cody Sherritt, IU Sports Media alum who ran that account for a while. I'm going to give all the credit to him on that.
He deserves all the credit for all 200,000 of those followers. Okay, another IU person, John Mellencamp.
I guess over?
Under 108.7 thousand.
I guess I should have thought about the fact that a lot of Mellencamp's followers probably are only on Facebook.
Yes, this is where you're starting to think too much, though. That's what got you in trouble with the Sophie Cunningham.
I need you to stop thinking, period, on this. Yes, absolutely.
There's no thought. Okay, we have 4 left. Daniel Jones.
Oh, over?
Under. He never uses X. Apparently, he has 83.1 thousand. But it is funny that the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts has less.
Well, the former starting quarterback for the Giants, you would have.
Yes, that's actually the more troubling part. Is the market size for that. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I'm going to say over.
Correct. 275.5 thousand.
Good job by them.
Okay. Another person in the basketball sphere, Mark Titus.
Yes, Mr. Club Trillion himself. He's got to be over. Barstool, everything that he's done, he's got to be over.
Yes. Mark Titus has more followers than Indiana football, 258.1K. He has almost 100,000 more than Indiana football. Team that went 16-0. Okay, our last one. This is personal to me. Eli Lilly. I have to explain that. Half my family works for Eli Lilly.
Correct. Yes. No, it's definitely a family affair with you. I'm going to say under.
Under, you nailed it. 142.6K.
Pretty
but
close.
It's close.
Yeah.
I didn't keep track of how you did. I feel like you got 50% right.
I feel like I did better than I thought I was going to do, and that I at least got some of them correct. But but again, it raises a lot of questions. It does feel like, do you bother marketing on X now? Is it important to have a big audience? I think it kind of is.
Yeah.
So how does IU football get up to that point? And what are people following Eli Lilly on X for at this point? What are they putting out there?
I don't know. I guess I should talk to my sister because shout out Kelly School of Business grad working in marketing there. But I haven't actually looked at their account. I'm sure there's stuff.
While we're doing the outro here, I'll call it up and see what they're doing.
Okay.
Maybe they have a secret that we don't know about.
They are over in Milan a lot right now because big sponsor.
Yeah.
I texted my dad. I said, "Why aren't you in Milan?" And he was like, "Grace, why would they invite me to Milan for that?"
Fair point.
So
they did tweet about their Q4 results here recently, and also had news about a positive phase 3 results on some genomic alteration. So this is what there's 143,000 people following.
How many likes are these getting?
The The one about how they're investing $3.5 billion in a new U.S. facility in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, got 43 likes and 10 retweets. So they're doing some decent business, I would say. I don't know what their top engagement tweets are. This is something we should probably look at separately.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
but it's alarming to realize how many of these accounts are more popular than a team that just went 16-0.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that. This has got to be remedied at some point.
And I also think it's important too to note that Indiana basketball has, I think, near 1 million.
Right. Well, that is the issue, and it's just like that. There probably shouldn't be that much of a discrepancy.
No, but there is.
I will note so Kurt Signetti only has 107,000 followers.
I thought about putting him on there and then I forgot about it.
And Bryant Haines, whose Twitter account is a must follow if you're either a football fan or an IU fan, only has 40.6 thousand followers.
I think his numbers are just going to keep skyrocketing over the course of his career.
We really do need to get like some kind of a marketing campaign just to get all of these accounts out there. We need more followers just in general. So
follow Max Mendoza Show, follow Kurt Signetti, follow Bryant Haines, follow IUFB.
I just do all, right now, folks. Do all of that right now.
If you open your phone and you're not following them, do it right now.
Do it right now. Oh man. Well, that was fun. We need to find more things like that to do.
I'll devise more games. I love games. And I hope that everybody listening along was able to play because I love a good game.
And more to the point, tell your friends to follow Indiana football on X.
Yes.
I think if we all start at home, eventually it will spread out and we'll get more people involved.
It's like a pyramid scheme, but
positive, right? Like we're not stealing anybody's life savings here. We're just trying to get you to follow accounts on X.
That's it. Well, this was so much fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Thank you everybody for listening, and obviously way more Crimson Cast coming throughout the week, and we'll be back here next week. And Galen, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but stay never daunted.
Stay never daunted is exactly correct. Thanks, folks, for Ybarra and Galen Clavio. So long, everybody.
That was so fun.
That was great.
I loved it. I'm glad that the Eli Lilly one got you.
Hold on. It didn't end.